Hi guys, Al here. Welcome back to another video for the channel. Today we're out on a bike that I've been quite interested in for a wee while. Always wanted to try, and that's the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650. Very nice looking bike. So we'll have a look around it, get some photographs, take it out a test ride and see what my thoughts are on this wee bike. So I think you'll agree this is a really pretty looking wee bike. It's quite basic, quite traditional, no frills motorcycling, which for me is what it's all about. Excuse the plane noises, I'm parked right next to Glasgow Airport and we've got a jet going off right here. As I said, this bike is pretty much no frills. You've got no riding modes on it, no electronics to speak of apart from ABS. So it is a very basic bare bones bike, and I really like that because it's less to go wrong and it just makes you enjoy the ride more and you're not spending less time faffing about with the riding modes and all sorts of electronics that can sometimes get distracting. So let's have a closer look at some of the components. So in the front here we've got just a traditional round headlight, suits the look of the bike absolutely perfectly. Standard suspension on the bike, it's damped fine, there's no adjustability on it as you would expect at this price point, but for the riding I've done so far it's perfectly adequate. Going down to the disc, single bit disc on the front, again it does the job fine. It's not going to set the world on fire, but at the end of the day for a bike of this performance level it is adequate. There you can see the calipers, and it's by Bray, and I believe these are made by Brembo. However, someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that. Going back to the engine, you've got a lovely twin cylinder parallel twin, and what I like about this is each cylinder has its own dedicated exhaust. So when you look at it from the back, you've got your twin cans and it looks really nice. It's got a lovely sound to it as well. As I said, power wise, I don't know the full exact figures, but it's round about 50 or just less than 50 horsepower. I'll put the exact stats online. So it's really nice looking bike. All the traditional cooling fins and everything are there. Aluminium engine cover, that would polish up really nicely if you wanted to keep that clean. And on the back you've got your dual shocks. The seat itself, it's quite a comfortable seat, it's quite narrow, so you can get your feet down fairly easily. I'm short at 5'6" with 29 inside legs, so I struggle on a lot of bikes, but this is absolutely fine. Plenty of space to move forward and back in this seat as well. And if you wanted to put luggage on there, you can do. You've got a good handle you can strap it to, and there's a few other points you can put stuff on. Back lights are just traditional lights, nothing fancy, no LEDs here. So you could up the LEDs if you wanted to. And around this side, there you go, you can see the can on this side as well with the lovely straight through exhaust. So this bike comes in various different colours. Have a look in the Royal Enfield website for colours. They do a huge amount, unlike a lot of manufacturers, so you really can get something to suit your own needs. So I'll put in a wee cutscene of me sitting on the bike just so you can see what that's like. As I said, I'm about 5'6" tall with a 29-inch inside leg, so I'm on the shorter side of average. The only criticism I would have with the bike is looking at it up the front here where you've got all this cabling. It looks a wee bit untidy, but at the end of the day, if you wanted to do something with that, I dare say you could attack it with the cable ties and tidy it up a wee bit. But that's my only real criticism of the bike. Very nice, very comfortable. So let's jump back on and we'll continue the ride. Okay, so let's get this test ride going. of the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650. Now this bike, it's not a particularly powerful bike, as I'm sure everyone already knows that. You're around about 50-ish horsepower, which for this style of bike I don't think is particularly important, because where it is important is how it delivers that power, and it's got plenty of low down torque. I mean, that's me there, 40 mph, I'm in top gear, I can roll on fine and it will go. It will accelerate up nicely. It's not a fast bike, but it's not intended to be a fast bike. It's the kind of bike you would just go out on a Sunday afternoon in the summer, ride to your local coffee shop and enjoy the ride, enjoy the back roads, just chill out on the bike. Braking down through the gears, brakes are fine, they've got enough power for the style of bike and the performance you would expect. The corner in there round the roundabout is lovely, it drops into the corners nicely, holds the line nice. Looking at the forks, they look like they've got quite a steep rake on them, and that lends itself to being quite a manoeuvrable wee bike. So starting at the front of the bike, you've got your standard headlight on there, round headlight with a bulb and your traditional indicators. Clocks suit the style of the bike very well. You've got an analog speedo with a digital tachometer and fuel gauge, sorry, a digital mileometer and fuel gauge, and you've got your analog tacho. Handlebars are a nice set of chrome bars, good width to them, nice rake back. Oh, missed the gear there. And the wee bracelets on them there is quite lovely, just adds to the appeal. The suspension of the bike is basic, standard forks, no adjustability, but to be honest, it feels fine. Right, so we're up to a 50 mph road here. We'll see how it goes. Up to speed, no bother. So that's 50 mph, 3,500 revs. No buzz or vibrations to speak of. If I grip the tank I can feel a slight vibration, but that's expected probably since the engine is directly below the tank. Mirrors are traditional round mirrors, work well, I can see the road nicely behind me, and the riding position is very comfortable. I'm got a slight lean forward, nothing too major, only a few degrees forward. Seat is quite comfortable. It's quite a narrow seat, which helps get the feet down as well, but it's a pleasant place to be. So coming into the 40 zone, so we'll just roll off the throttle a wee bit. Oh, and the sound of those pipes. Drops down through the gears nicely. The gearbox is quite responsive. Oh, round the corner. Makes me feel like I'm in an old black and white movie. The good old days of the golden age of motorcycling, before everything became massive horsepower and electronic wizardry. So testing the brakes, front brake, it's actually got a decent bite to it. I like the way it goes round the corner, it's just easy. The tyres on this are I think it's Seat, C-E-A-T, which I believe is an Indian brand of tyre. Seem alright in the dry. It's quite a confidence inspiring wee bike. I think because it's actually quite punchy in the low down revs when you're accelerating away. It's got a good wee bit of oomph to get you up to speed. So if you're someone who's maybe just passed your test and you're looking for a nice looking bike that's maybe a bit on the retro side, this has definitely got to be one of the front runners. I find myself as I get older in years preferring the more traditional look of bikes. I don't know if anyone else finds the same as that. Is it just because as you get older you can't be bothered with all the extra gizmos and gadgets that I come my bike? I don't know. Yeah, so we're going to head up here. Just this wee village of Bishopton. This is the village I grew up. Don't live here anymore, but it's a lovely wee village. If you're wanting something to commute and you want it to be quite a cool looking thing, get this. Now this engine, the 650 engine, is in a couple of bikes. It's in the new 650 Meteor, and it's also in the Continental GT. I do fancy trying both of those bikes at some point, just to compare them. I expect the performance would be very similar or identical, where the difference is going to come down to your riding style. So we've got a couple of sweeping bends here, so let's see how it does. Set it up nicely for the corner. Oh, ruined by a red light. I know this is relatively low powered, especially it's about half the power of my Honda Crossrunner, maybe less than half the power, but I'm finding it really good fun. Perhaps that because I can use all the power that it's got. I can open the throttle wide, knowing that I'm not going to take off into the distance with the Millennium Falcon. 60 mph and it's absolutely fine. I can still accelerate if I want. I was concerned by the power figures when I was looking at the bike. I thought, that sounds like it's going to be a bit underpowered. Why can't they get a bit more out of 650cc? And I can kind of understand why they've done it, because for the style that this is, I think the power is pretty much perfect. It makes you feel like you're out for a relaxed ride. You can enjoy the scenery that's round about you without having to think too much about the road ahead. Oh, that sounds nice. Right, down the hill, let's give it some beans. I mean, it's alright. It's not fast, but it's not slow either, if you know what I mean. After in, I could have some fun in this bike. I don't think I would want it as my only bike. I think if I was planning to pack it up and go a camping trip or a longer distance ride, I would want something with a wee bit more power. But I think for everyday commuting, riding about, nipping out to the shops, or just going for a wee fun ride of an evening, can't go wrong. The only thing I find is when I'm sitting still and my foot's down, where I want to put my foot on my leg is exactly where the peg is. So I need to move my foot forward a wee bit, but it's just a minor inconvenience. There we go. I don't know why, but I've naturally just stopped at 50 mph. I could go up to 60, but I like 50. 50 is a good speed for this bike. And also, since I've started riding this, my mood has improved significantly. I wasn't in a bad mood, but I feel quite happy now. It's because it's a cheery, fun wee thing. It is. It's a cheery, fun wee ride. There's a wee bit of heat coming up through the seat. I'm getting a warm bottom. Not a hot bottom, just a warm bottom. Right, so I'm sitting here at the lights. I've taken both my feet off the pegs and they're on the ground, balls on my feet. So it's fine. I suppose I should do the proper thing since I've got an instructor in front of me. Yeah, ideal for cutting through town, scooting through the traffic. Absolutely spot on for that. I never mentioned the weight. It's very light. I don't know the actual weight, I've not looked, but it feels light. Again, 40 mile an hour, cruising along, absolutely ideal. There's something to be said for lower power bikes, because you can just chill out and enjoy the ride more. Just relax. And I've still got plenty of power to beat every other car off the lights, so it's fine. If you take it for what it is, and it's a low power, chilling out, having a fun ride kind of bike, then you'll enjoy it. If you're coming from it from maybe some higher capacity or higher power, thinking you're going to be able to go just as quick as you did on even like your SV650 is going to be way quicker than this, so don't expect to be able to ride that fast. But if you're maybe coming from a 125 onto this, I think you'll enjoy it. I really honestly do. It'd be a good step. The only uncertainty I've got is how well do these hold their value. I don't know, because they're quite inexpensive to buy. I can see the values dropping quite quickly. But then if you bought one of these and you wanted to move up, if you can afford it, just keep it. Keep it as a second bike. Keep it as a winter hack. Well, there we go, folks. Royal Enfield Interceptor 650. A very fun little bike.